and welcome to Bronx Talk. Although it is afternoon here, we are here at the Bronx Children's Museum for a sneak peek, our first look at the Bronx Children's Museum. My buddy Carla Precht is the executive director. Are you ready to walk in? You're going to show us everything?
I am ready.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
Well, this is incredibly exciting. So this is like the downstairs lobby. We're not quite at the museum yet. Tell us about how long it took to open it, to get us to this particular moment. How much space is there? Just give us some general stuff.
As you know, we're a museum without walls, so we've been in existence since 2004.
Very good point. Go ahead.
However, this building, we had our groundbreaking in 2017, and I think you were here.
I was.
Okay. And now it's 2022, so count
do
the numbers.
Do the math.
Do
Go
the
upstairs.
math.
We'll teach you a little bit about math.
Well, we should start by just saying that there are 11 beautiful art installations in this space, in addition to all our interactive exhibits. So you will see the art all around you.
As we move along.
Absolutely.
Let's go. One of the things that we're excited about is that we're going to be meeting a lot of the people who have been involved in the Bronx Museum. It is my longtime friend, Hope Harley. You are the founding board member of this incredible museum. Nice to see you, Hope.
Nice to see you, Gary. It's been a long time.
Well, but now we really have something exciting. Just tell me about your vision, what it was, and where we're at now. You must be incredibly excited.
I'm incredibly proud. Of course, excited is an understatement. It wasn't just my vision. I have to say that. It was the vision of a lot of people.
And what was the objective? What did you want to see happen?
The objective was to, rectify the lack of having a, no children's museum in the Bronx. Mm-hmm. And the children, we all felt that the children of the Bronx deserved to have their own museum. I guess if we had a collective vision, it was to have a children's museum that really reflected the Bronx and that could really make the children of the Bronx feel proud about where they live and learn more about where they live. And
I think what we're going to see as we walk through, we're going to see exactly that.
You are.
And one of the other things that I think a board member would be proud of, there were a lot of people who participated. I attended a gala a few years ago, and the place was packed, hundreds, maybe even thousands of people, and some of the and some of the most well-known Bronxites contributed financially and also with heart and soul.
Yes, and I can say that the support that we've gotten from those celebrities or just regular folks has been wonderful, and they've stuck with us. People like Kerry Washington, who is a Bronx girl, Swizz Beats. I mean, I could name Tracy Morgan.
That's right. It goes on, and what that says to you, and what that says to me, is that this is really fundamental. This is the core of the Bronx, doing things for our children.
Absolutely.
Hope Harley, thank you
Gary.
for your work and for your vision and for being at the top of the heap as we try to move this thing forward. Okay, so it is my pleasure to, meet Adriana Burkins.
Good afternoon.
Who is the STEAM program manager. Talk to me about the importance of water at the Bronx Children's Museum.
Yeah, well, it is our theme that water connects us all. We are literally surrounded by water here in the Bronx. You'll see that through line through our exhibits as well as our connection to our school programs as well.
And there is a Waterways exhibit, right?
Yes, and I'll take you there now.
You ready to take us? Here we go.
Good.
Let's go.
This is our Waterways exhibit. This is our waterway table, which measures 30 feet long. It represents the 3 Bronx waterways that we talk about in our school programs. So the Bronx River, the Harlem River, and Orchard Beach. Kids can actually see the water cycle that we also talk about. They can see that visual through the top of our water table, moving all the way down. Kids can actually see where the water is collecting, kind of representing our watersheds and our reservoirs. Then the water is flowing down our river, ending up in Orchard Beach. One really cool thing about this table is we also have a representation of the high bridge, so kids can also see that aqueduct in action. So kids can actually play with the boats that we have here, so they can actually see where the boats are going, see what happens with when their boats are in that bridge area right there. They can make bridges with different pieces. They can change the flow of water by creating bridges, or even by manipulating the dams that we have, and that connects to our school programs as well, so kids are learning about dams.
Because there is so much water in the Bronx, and we didn't want to just have a representation of one waterway, we decided that we would like to have a waterways exhibit that we can talk to children about, and their parents or their classes about the different types of waterways we have. So right out that window, you'll see the Harlem River. We call that a working river. And there are many properties to each waterways that we can discuss as we are having the children play. And then we'll always, always, always connect our exhibits to what's outside. So we want children, families to sort of get a spark, here, learn a little bit about the Bronx if they're not aware about it, and then give them information so they can actually go and visit these places. Because we actually think of the Bronx as our museum. We don't think of the building as our museum.
Adriana Burkins,
Yes.
thank you so much.
Thank you for having
Thank you for creating this incredible space, for helping to create
Yes.
this. It was a team effort for our children. And I guess we have something next. What's next?
Yes, we're going to the woods.
We're going to the woods. Ladies and gentlemen, from the water to the woods.
So, Gary, I want you to meet Nicole Wallace, who is our Director of Education and Public Engagement and has been with the museum from the beginning.
Nice to meet you, Nicole.
Nice to meet you too.
Nicole, let's just talk about this incredible area. She said we're going to the woods. Here we are.
Yeah, here we are. We are in our natural science area, which is really an area for inquiry and scientific exploration. And we have different animals and plants and habitats that represent the different green areas in the Bronx. And something that I really love about this space is we actually have 3 live animal enclosures here that represent different species that can be found here in New York.
So now we're going to go into, what is this?
This is our replica beaver lodge.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, into the Beaver Lodge we go. I have to be honest with you, this is the first time I have ever been in a beaver hut, and it never occurred to me I ever would be in a beaver hut. Nicole, tell us all about the beaver hut.
Sure. So this is one of the areas where children can come and engage in dramatic play as they play with puppets.
I was going to say, you brought a little
We
friend
brought a little
with you.
friend. This is Justin the Beaver. Okay, he's one of the unofficial mascots of the Bronx Children's Museum, and he is based off of the real live beavers that were discovered re-inhabiting the Bronx River about 10 years now, 10 years ago now, I guess. So this is our really imaginative play area where children can come, and we have these pretend sticks here. They can
Okay, here we go.
pretend to be like little beavers and help contribute to the construction of this lodge.
And so the construction, I guess, I don't know if, Carla, you're the expert on, they make the lodge with sticks, right?
Absolutely. And you can see in the front of the lodge that there's a place for children to actually weave the branches through the other branches so that they can close off the space.
And they can see exactly how it works.
Children really like the enclosed space. It makes them feel like they're in a secret clubhouse. It's a little bit more secluded from the rest of the museum. And there's this really fun video that's playing behind us that was created by a local filmmaker, Leslie Topping, and also stitched together with footage from PBS. And so they're able to come in here and actually get a little glimpse inside a real beaver lodge and see what they do inside, and then they can mimic that out here.
Let's bring our Bronx expert here. Carla, talk to me about why this is so important for children in the Bronx to be here in the woods and experience the building of a beaver lodge and maybe even hanging out here like we're doing today.
Well, first of all, I got to say that we're all kids, right? And your enthusiasm right now is more or less the kind of enthusiasm that we will just be able to jump off of.
I came in here as a talk show host. I'm going out as a child of the Bronx, so let's be clear. Go ahead.
So children everywhere, not just in the Bronx, but they often don't really discover what's in their own neighborhoods. And the Bronx is so rich It happens to be the greenest borough in the Bronx.
Pelham Bay Park, Van Cortlandt Park. I mean, we can go on and on, plus so many other wonderful parks. I mean, it is the borough of parks, as we know.
And most children wouldn't guess that there were beavers. And we're still not 100% sure if they're still here. That's something
is
we
that
can talk
true?
about.
Oh.
And we can also talk about, maybe they're endangered still at this point. Because if they weren't endangered, maybe we'd have more. So there's just layers and layers of information that as children, pretend that they are beavers or listen to Nicole talk about the animals that we have. They will relate it to their own lives and their own neighborhoods.
And by the way, which we're going to emphasize throughout our visit today, we're only seeing pieces of the whole. There's so much more here.
This is a sneak peek.
Sneak peek. But listen, Nicole, thank you so much for what you do for our kids. Does Justin talk? Does he have something to say?
Yes, I would just like to say, please help keep the rivers clean so that me and my friends can live here. Thank you.
I think that about says it. Thank you so much, Nicole. We're going to move on. Where are we going next?
Okay, well, now we're going to the block.
We're going to the block. Down home, the boogie down Bronx. That's next.
So, Gary, now we're in our Casita, and I want you to introduce you to Christopher Gomez, who's our arts program manager.
Hello, Chris. Nice to see you.
Nice to meet you too.
Now let's go. There we go. We're going to have a seat here. This is a very interesting area. Let's just talk about what is here. This is like the town. This is our hometown. This is the Boogie Down.
Yeah, exactly. This is a space created and curated with our students, along with artist Charles George Esperanza. Each of the storefronts you see here are representative of a place a child would see in their own neighborhood. So it's really important to have it, be represented here in the museum.
So let's see. I see the Rainbow Deli. I see a food store where you can come and get a bite to eat. And then even a recording studio, of course,
Yeah.
the Boogie Down Bronx is the Boogie Down. And we have music. Now you play the ukulele.
Yeah, I play the ukulele, piano, guitar,
So you're going to play something for us? Come on.
Whatever you want, honestly.
Come on, let's get a little sound, a little accompanying music.
Want to help me out?
I'll play the drum.
Please.
Okay, although I got to hold the microphone.
goodness.
No, that's good.
Sure.
So the idea here is children will be able to play music or learn about music. Talk about how this all interacts.
Sure. We have a lot of programs at various schools, one of them being Green Arts, which is a music production program. And we kind of want to bring that spirit into the museum as well. If you look throughout our Casita and you visit us, you'll see that there's a bunch of drums, there's guitar, ukuleles, there's music playing in the Casita constantly, bomba and plena music, which is representative of the cultures that build Casitas, Puerto Rico and other various Caribbean islands.
In the Casita, there's a dining room table, and then all around is the community garden. Where's the pineapple? There are pineapples, and there's lettuce, and there's tomatoes, and all that. Talk about what you hope children will get when they come in here. Not really able to eat the pineapple, but they can do different things.
Well, the what the Casita and the community garden surrounding it is really important to us because it kind of calls back to the long tradition of casitas in the Bronx, built by community members and used to kind of bring a piece of their homeland here. We see a lot of vegetables grown here by people in the communities to feed people in the communities. And the Casita and the surrounding areas in the block, we want to use this space to really call attention to that and celebrate it.
And always experiential and really relating to their communities. One of the things that I absolutely love here is the fact that there's a little cash register. The kids can buy and sell groceries, and that relates to life in the Bronx. Let's face it, we're a community of delis.
Yeah, of course.
Of bodegas.
Yeah, of course. I think that's really important to me and the rest of our staff. Is kind of showing the kids that they should be proud of being part of a larger community. Me personally, I'm a visual artist, and I go into schools, I go and work with many teachers, and students don't have the opportunities to use and learn about different types of art and modern artists, right? Here at the museum, we celebrate artists from the Bronx, like Charles George Esperanza, who helped build this particular section, Andre Chenier's mural work in the woods, like you saw earlier, Saya Wolfock's amazing hanging sculpture, Rachel Sidlowski's beautiful prints she'll be installing into the museum. These are all really important to us. And me, along with the other teaching artists, we go into these schools and celebrate and show the students that they can create beautiful things and they should be inspired by the world they are surrounded with.
This relates directly to the foundation of the Bronx Children's Museum.
Absolutely. And in this building, we will have ongoing art activities. We'll have artists come in here who are visual and performing on a very, very regular basis. We have a classroom in the back we call the Wonder Room, and that will have regular art activities. Up here, we're going to have a what we call a artist studio. And Charles, the person who designed this space here, he's going to have his studio up there. And it will be like a faux studio, and children will also be able to do art that in one way or another relates to the kind of art that he does. He happens to be a children's book illustrator. So we have so many examples of experiential situations where children will be themselves in the center of it.
We're going to the nest. Play a little Go to the Nest music. Thank you, Chris.
Well, thank you. I'll see you soon.
All right, so now we're going to do the sneak peek of the nest. And you recognize her, it's Nicole Wallace. Nicole, tell us about the nest.
So the nest is our early learner space. It's a soft, comfortable, enclosed space for families with children under the age of 3. So our babies, our toddlers, they're able to come into this space, and there are lots of things that they can do to practice their gross motor development, like climbing and crawling, and their fine motor development, like working at our light table, picking up small things, sorting them. And it's overall just a really cozy space for families to come, read a book together. If a mother needs to nurse in a little bit of privacy, this is the perfect spot for that.
In the various tests, I'm assuming you brought some children here to see how it worked out. How did it work out? Did the kids really enjoy some of the activities? I got to tell you, again, I may be the biggest kid here. There was one over there that I can't get my hands off of.
So actually, this Saturday, we are going to be doing our first test with children under the age of 3 in this space. We have 22 babies coming into this space, so it'll be a really good test to see what activities are popular, how the visitor flow in the space works, and what caregivers want to see in this space.
I guess that falls under the category of this being a sneak peek, because you're just getting your first look, my first look, all of our, not her first look, all of our first looks at it. I guess we need to go back to Carla and talk about how this fits into the philosophy of the museum and all of these activities now for younger children, preschool children and below.
Oh, well, I'm glad you asked that question, because one of our principles is that caregivers are the child's first teacher. And caregivers and children often are in the same room, but it's not necessarily clear that the parent is actually teaching the child how to say yes.
And we're teaching parents at the same time, aren't we?
Exactly, exactly. So this is a place where babies and their caregivers can just be themselves, but be in an environment where they're going to learn subliminally how to do things.
Nicole, you have been a great partner for us today on Bronx Talk, and we appreciate you being with us twice. And good luck with the young kids here. I'm sure it's going to be a joy.
Thank you.
All right. What's next? I guess we're going to the cloud. We're going to the sky.
And actually, the cloud is right above us.
Right above us. So you talked about technologically advanced. What are we going to see here? What is eventually going to be here? Let's be clear. It's not going to be here ready the first week when it opens. But what is the plan?
Well, the plan eventually is to have the space be reserved for different immersive programs like dance, like music, and also our very brand new exciting idea, BronxTopia, which is a game.
Wait, we need a drum roll on that. BronxTopia. What is BronxTopia?
BronxTopia is this idea concept, this game we developed along with Jerome Lamar, who is a Bronx-born fashion guru, stylist, and one of our teaching artists, Leslie Gaglione, who created the music for it. And it is a game where the kids can and will learn about the various musical traditions and dance traditions of the Bronx by playing with.
Through technology?
Yes.
I mean, this is like a virtual reality thing? Is
it's more
somewhat like it?
Altered reality, I would say more AR. It's kind of, this game will show the students dance moves, and they will mirror the avatars on the screen that we've created along with Jerome, and they'll teach them how to dance.
The context also is that we worked with a company called Potion, and they were the designers for this particular program that you're calling a game. I actually hadn't thought of it as a game, because more as an exhibit, like an interactive exhibit.
That's the executive director of the Children's Museum talking.
And you'll see these projectors here They have a special device in them that when a child walks in and they're standing in front of an area, boom, they'll see an avatar that will mimic their movements.
Oh, their moves. Chris Gomez, you, like all of the other people we've met this afternoon at the Bronx Children's Museum, you are a valuable resource for all of us in the Bronx. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Appreciate meeting you.
All right. So now we're going to take a walk on like a little dream.
Memory lane.
Memory lane on the dreamscape. So we're going to go. See you later, Chris.
See ya.
Thank you.
So we are on the bridge to imagination.
We are.
Before we end, let's talk about some of the fundamental things. Everything here is ADA compliant.
Yes.
Right? And multilingual, multi-language.
We're bilingual at the moment, and we hope to be multilingual.
And the other thing which some people don't know, this is actually a park, and a parks department building.
Yes.
Maybe you want to talk a little bit about that and the importance of that in relation to the museum and the Bronx.
Well, we see the space that we're in as a beautiful space unto itself. It's right on the river, so you already get a feel where you are exactly. But we also have this beautiful park, and the park is being renovated this coming year, and it will be part of the Bronx Point development that's coming.
Which is right near the Hip Hop Museum, which is the Hip Hop
Well,
Museum.
the Hip Hop Museum will be located, and it will also have a playground, because right now, Mill Pond Park, that's the park we're on, doesn't have a playground. So when children and families come here, they'll be able to not just go to our museum, but spend time, have lunch, picnic, and then we'll also be using it as an outdoor classroom. So we'll be doing scavenger hunts and bringing kids out throughout the day.
And we should mention, which we haven't talked about, that beginning with Saturdays in December with morning and afternoon sessions, opening up Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays beginning in January. It's also going to involve schools, school groups. If you're a teacher, if you're an educator, find out how you can get your kids here. I think right now it's a pretty good time. We're going to bring Hope into the equation. Hope Harley, so we've been through the museum, our sneak peek. We didn't see everything. This is really an incredible moment.
Did you enjoy it?
That would be an
Do
understatement.
you wish you were a kid again?
Yes and no. Yes, because yes, I would, but no, because I'll be here for adult night.
Okay.
That's one thing I learned today.
Very good.
And then for you, this is just as exciting as can
This
be.
is the culmination of my dream and the dream of so many others.
We're going to now find out how Carla Precht feels about it. You look over the whole museum now, and after all the work that's done, and let's just be honest, you are going to be leaving as executive director pretty soon. Just what are your thoughts at this moment? That I guess you brought us to this point, and you're going to hand it off.
That is the plan. As you can imagine, it's bittersweet. This is my third baby. I have two girls who are now adults, but this was the third, and I now have to say goodbye. But I know that she'll or he'll or they will be in very good hands. We'll be in very good hands, and we need new leadership, new blood, new ideas. And this is a totally different animal in a way, because once it's open, I mean, we have to engage people on a very regular basis. It's not that we'll be going out, people will be coming in. And we have to make sure that we're fresh, that we're clean all the time. We're operating.
That's actually a big thing. One of the things that I've learned from being here all day is that you've got a lot of things that kids are going to handle, and then all of those which we've learned through the last couple of years are going to have to be clean.
Yes. So we'll have a very stringent cleaning process and system, and I'm sure that we'll be able to maintain the highest level of cleanliness and hygienics.
You and I will remember that, 3 years ago, maybe more than 3 years ago, we stood in this particular space, and it was an empty shell. We were wearing construction hats, looking at from that to this and getting some perspective. How do you feel? It's kind of amazing to have lived
I have
through
to say that the main feeling is just being grateful. Grateful to everybody who's been part of this, because it's been a massive, massive collaboration. there's so many different entities and people, including our funders. And you saw our staff, we have an extraordinary staff. And
We got to meet them, and they are extraordinary.
the core group has been with us for more than 10 years. And Hope has also been here from the beginning. So we have stayed very much focused and committed to making sure that we would get to this point. But this is just the beginning. It's not the end.
It's hard to even imagine Carla has been identified with the museum from the beginning, and now you're going to literally hand it off. What has been the most gratifying, the most enjoyable part of this for you? What really has helped drive you through? Listen, they were ready to go before the pandemic, and they were ready to open the doors.
We've been pivoting every year. We were virtual way
so
before.
that may have been the most difficult. But what's the most enjoyable aspect, and what's been the best part of it for you?
It's the children. It's always been the children, and we all are children. We all are kids. So it's something that's in us all. And when you see a child, you can just identify with that person. And to us, the child is the most important individual walking in that door. So to see a child walk into our door, or go in a classroom and see the children, to see them go on our bus, that's what fuels us all. That's why we're all together still, because we have that same vision, we have that same motivation.
And one of the things to mention is many of those external programs will continue.
Well, that's the idea, is that we'll have enough funding. Funding is always...
That's very important.
Funding is always going to be an issue for us all. We want to always be a museum with and without walls, and that costs money. We are almost tripling our budget in this coming year. So that is going to mean we need additional funds. A lot of the cultural institutions in New York City get funding through the Cultural Institution Group, the CIG group.
Right.
We want to be a member. And I have the full endorsement. We have the full endorsement of all of our city council members, our borough president.
Who wouldn't endorse what we just saw for the last half hour?
Exactly. We can't, understand why everybody wouldn't want to give $1 even. We think that what we have is so precious, and it's worth every dollar.
Do you want to look at the camera and say, hey, thanks so much?
Thank you all for getting us to this point. We wouldn't be here without you.
And December 3rd.
December 3rd.
And we're going to let Hope have the final words. What is your message to your message to the people of the Bronx?
Come visit your museum. That's all I can say. It's here for you.
I will get the final word and say thank you all, our incredible crew, Walter, Rebecca, George. I'm not going to name everybody. We have a cast of thousands. And you know what happens? We'll see you next week for Bronx Talk. Thank you for BronxNet Television. On and on and on. Everybody contributed. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Gary.